What's good, Raider Nation? It's your boy G_Money Raiders, aka Galen, coming to you another edition of my take. So, this video I want to talk about the upcoming events, free agency, draft, and then so on and so forth. When it comes down to mini camp and training camps and things like that. So first, this video is more about the free agency period that's coming up. The transition from going to Oakland now saying Las Vegas, how people feel about that. And I also want to touch on a subject that's kind of like been out there in the news about the Rooney Rule and how you guys feel about it. I want to hear some of y'all takes on it about what's going on with the coaching hirings and how not enough owners, GMs are doing or giving black coaches, that actual thought of them maybe having a chance to become a head coach of a particular team. So these are kind of things I want to go over. So we just go get right on into it. You know how I do it? We talk about an issue, about the Raiders, and this video is also about a little bit about the NFL as well. So when it comes to the Raiders this offseason, we're going to be transitioning to saying Las Vegas Raiders. And I'm fine with that. I'm okay with that. I'm just more so, as you all know how I go about it, I've never really said Oakland Raiders like that. I just say Raiders. And I'm going to always keep it that way no matter what city they are in. But with them going to Vegas, I'm very, very happy. That, like I said in another video, I'm just very happy that they are finally getting their own stadium. I mean, that's just what I'm more excited about. State-of-the-art stadium. I can't wait to get my tickets to go to the stadium, to see the stadium and see what it's like. I am super juiced that I also found out they will be playing the Atlanta Falcons out here in Georgia. So I'm going to get my tickets for that game as well and represent here in Georgia like I always do. So this upcoming free agency period is coming up, and some things that, everybody has, the Raiders needs, cap space and everything. So far, I think they're like either high 60s or low 70s when it comes to having cap space for free agency. To me, a lot of people say that they need to work on cornerback, linebacker, and wide receiver, which is true. These are some of the things they need to work on. I myself, who has been a person who watches Gruden and have watched Gruden when he first came with the Raiders, know how he covens veteran receivers. Why? Because he feels as if they'll know what to do route-wise that will help a quarterback like Derek Carr. Not saying, though, to me, we had decent receivers this past season. I'm not saying we had the greatest receivers. No. What I am saying is the team itself needs more weapons to make another team's defensive coordinators be like, oh, snap, we got to pay attention to the Raiders on this particular matter on offense because Carr now has this weapon or this weapon. So we know we pretty much got the tight end solidified. And if Gruden wants to go in this offseason and work on plays where he can implement the tight end, where he can put certain packages in where you have nothing but the tight ends out there and maybe one wide receiver to where you can still get a playoff with the tight ends and that one receiver. He has that package. But the thing that I feel like we really need is is a wide receiver who can stretch the field. Now, everybody used to joke at Al when he used to say speed kills. And he would always draft a wide receiver that was fast. Why was that? Because the simple fact is you can't teach speed. You can't coach speed. Speed is what it is. It's natural. It just comes to a person who can run really, really fast. So you need to get that or find a receiver. So in the free agent period, to me, I think two spots you need to really covenant for sure, and the third one you need to kind of address. The two for sure is wide receiver and linebacker. And I think as a Raider fan, you need to address the wide receiver position to help Tyrell Williams, number one, and to get a wide receiver who's a vet that can come in and sort of kind of mentor some of these receivers, get them to the point to where they can be, hey, let's do it this way. Let's get this way. Then the other position I feel like they need to address in free agency is linebacker just as well. I feel like you need to get a veteran linebacker the same way you need to get a veteran wide receiver, because of the fact that you want to be able to get a guy who's going to come in and knows how to command attention from their other players. So he's going to come in and be like, look, this is where we are, this is where we need to be. He sees something different. He can command, he can, let everybody know what's going on so that everybody can get positioned correctly. Now, everybody else is going to say cornerback is what they need to address, but I don't believe they really need to address cornerback like that in free agency. I think they need to address defensive tackle. I say defensive tackle because there were a lot of games I went back and I looked at. And there were a few games where you had, this is when they were putting and using Cleveland Farrell in a defensive tackle position on certain downs with Maurice Hurst, trying to get that push up the middle that Gunther likes, because you got the speed rushers on the edges, but you need that up front push. How many times did we see in games where the quarterback literally squeezed out in front and was able to step up or run a play and get out in front because the defensive tackles were either pushed to the edges, toward the edges of the D line, and let the middle open up, and the quarterback was able to go through? A few of them. I know I've seen a few of them where it was like, where is the linebacker? Where is somebody that is sitting in the middle of the pocket, not allowing the quarterback? It's different if you give him a lane as opposed to you just letting the pocket collapse, open up like this to where he can see or run. Many a times. And I feel like Jonathan Hankins, PJ Hall are more run-stopping defensive tackles. They're not the pass-rushing type of defensive tackles. So that's why I feel like they need to go get some type of defensive tackle that can come in and rush the passer so that you can get that middle plugged in the way you want to get it plugged in. So that's my three areas. It's wide receiver in free agency, linebacker in free agency, and defensive tackle in free agency. Those are the three that I think they really need to focus on and work on in free agency, because simple fact is those are your weakest areas as far as talent-wise go. In the Denver game, just in case some of y'all who don't know, the reason John Gruden went for the 2 points was because he had no linebackers to go in on to tie it up and then take it into overtime. Everybody got hurt at the end. And you kind of ran out of the linebacker position to put people in linebackers. You would have had to put safeties in linebacker positions. That probably would have hurt the team in the end. So, those are the three things that I feel like we need to work in free agency. I mean, you got enough cap space. You always got to remember you need to leave some money as well for your draft. Well, we'll get into the draft to me a little later on. I'll do a video on the draft of what I would like to see them draft, who, what, and where. But wide receiver wise, I definitely want to see a veteran style type of wide receiver come in here one who can either stretch the field a la AJ Green or Emmanuel Sanders. Those two guys are vets, and yeah, I know they're a little older, but they can still stretch the field. Now with AJ Green, you just want to know if he's healed from his injury. I think it was a leg injury or Achilles or something. Have to do with the foot up to the leg. One of those injuries. I don't know the actual stat or on his status with this injury, but let's just hope by the beginning of free agency, we know the full thing of what's going on with him. Linebacker wise, either I'm for bringing Vontaze Burfict back, because the reason I say that is because when the season started, our run defense was phenomenal when he was in there. It was, teams weren't getting 3, 4, 5 yards per carry on us like that. They just weren't. Only one game, I think, that hurt us big time, if I'm not mistaken, that Vontaze was in there, was the Minnesota game. And that's when Cook was, and then was just ripping and running all over us. But I can be wrong. Y'all can tell me. You know how I am. I'm not afraid to be wrong. But I think Vontaze did play in that game. But I would like to see him come back. But if not, I'm okay with also leaving Will Compton in there. But I really more so want somebody who can, yes, make the tackles, but at the same time, know how to cover, because we have Kelsey. We have Noah Fant. We have the guy, I can't think of the tight end in LA, in the Chargers. But we got those guys in the tight ends where we got some decent tight ends in our division that we have to cover. Just the same way as on our team, we have tight ends that they need to cover. So that's one of my things I think we need to go out and get a linebacker for. And I want it to be at least a good veteran, young. He could be late 20s, early 30s. I don't mind that, because I still don't believe 30 is old. But he can come in and solidify that position of running the defense and knowing the defense and put people in the right way. So those are my takes on the defense, on the linebacker for defense. Now, D-tackle, I'm okay with you either going in the free agent market or drafting somebody. Either or on that one right there. Because if you go do a defensive tackle, it's got to be a big dude who can literally rush the quarterback. Now, I know we got Hurst. Hurst can rush the quarterback. Y'all can say, no, not really, or he's okay. But I want to put this out there for you. Think of it this way. A lot of the times when Hurst was rushing and they had him and Hall next to each other or him and Hankins next to each other, a lot of times they would have Hall because they wanted Hall to be that guy to be the run stopper, but at the same time can also rush the passer as well. But just think, if you could put somebody who's a defensive tackle next to Maurice Hurst, they won't do the double team on him as much as he got. Even though he did fairly well, to me, when he did get double teamed, he was able to split or, do a particular move to get through the double teams. So if you would get somebody who can take that double team off of Hurst, they might have to do a double team on someone else. And if Hurst can't get off of single coverage, then you'll know and see that it's time to, put somebody else in that way. But to me, Hurst is the answer as far as defensive tackle getting that pressure, because I've seen him. I think he had like 3.5, 4.5 sacks this season just as well, that defensive tackle. I just need his sack totals to be around the 6, 7, 8 range. I don't need to be double digits. I just need it to be up there to where a coordinator has to understand that we have to block him. Or we know we got these two guys on this position, I hope they also bring Jordan back as well on defense to rotate, because we're going to get Key back, get him back as well. That's going to help on pass rush. So if you can get, certain guys to come in, like I said, defensive tackle wise, whether it be a free agent or, through the draft, that can help that position. That, to me, will solidify your defense a little bit better. The secondary will take care of itself because I think we have enough players secondary-wise to where if you move, let's say, Joyner to safety, we know Carl Joseph is not going to come back. Even though we all love Carl Joseph, but the Raiders paid a lot of money to get Joyner. So you know that they're not going to cut Joyner. So if you move him to the safety position, you need you got Mullins is a good corner, which is he's only going to get better. You got to see about Johnson, and then Worley, to me, he's adequate. I'm not going to say bad. I'm not going to say good. He's adequate. It's just his problem is he runs into a lot of guys who, let's just say, has a little more speed on him, and he has problems with speedy guys. You know, you get what I'm saying? I mean, that's his problem. And so that reminds me of a lot of cornerbacks who are big like him, who don't have real shifty hips and can get, you know, move their hips and have the speed to be able to catch up with a cornerback. So those are the three things free agency wise for the team that I want to see the team either look into, and hopefully we won't have, you know, if we do go and get a veteran wide receiver, we don't get another AB situation in that wide receiver, which I don't think we are, because a lot of people is going to want to come because, you know, Vegas is going to have the no state tax, and you're going to be able to do a little bit more things money-wise than you would in California. So that's my take on the free agent period. You know, let me know what you guys think and feel when it comes to that point. So my other take that I want to talk about is this Rooney Rule deal. I just think my deal is this. I want to see more black coaches out there. I'm not saying this because I am black. What I'm saying it because the fact of the matter of it is we are in a country and we are in a league in which the league reflects the country to me. What I mean by that is you have all of these black players who the league is, I think, is about 70-75% black players, and are constantly being coached by white people, which you look in the country itself and say the country is being ran by a lot of white people. So we have to get white people to understand that everybody has an idea. Everybody has a thought process. We all think of it and we all do it in a particular manner or way. And we got to get these people to stop, not these people, but these white people to stop thinking and feeling like other people, meaning minorities or people who are non-white, can't lead them or can't be led by them. Because I get a lot of people who say white men are afraid of either successful black men, powerful black men, smart black men. We get all that. But if we are to continuously to keep saying we're in 2020 now, it's 2020, it's 2021, we're still having these situations when it comes to race and hiring people, what's the point of having a Rooney Rule of where you have to interview a particular minority of color, doesn't matter what ethnicity they are, but a person of color, and you're only doing it just to appease the rule? When are we going to get to the point where we're going to say that particular coach, whether he be black, Hispanic, Asian, Indian, whatever, has enough gall to come in and coach my team? Because we used to do this when I was watching football. That's all I saw was the old white coach or the young white coach who came in. The Raiders did it. They appeased, interviewed 3 black candidates just so that they can bring Gruden in. Our team is no exception than anybody else. Okay? So I understand that when it comes to people are going to be comfortable who they are comfortable around. And I get that. I'm not dismissing that. Black people are comfortable around black people. White people are comfortable around white people. Hispanics, and so on and so forth. And I get that. But in order to get the segregated mindset off and have more of a diverse matter in the hiring process, we have to start seeing people as in, this is a person who can come in and help turn my team around. If you allow that person, you have to allow people. You can't make a rule and implement a rule and then turn around and say, oh, let's just appease this rule to make it comfortable for certain people. And then we're going to hire who we really want. Because I know the Giants probably went off and hired and interviewed a few black people just to appease the Rooney Rule, but to go and hire a coach that was a wide receivers coach who never had no coordinator position, but you got black coordinators in the league right now who didn't even get a wink, a nod, or a flick of being said, hey, I want to try you out. Hey, I want to bring you in. I really want this person. Because the fact of the matter of it is this subject needs to be brought up. Because like I said in the beginning, the NFL is a reflection of the country. That's the way I see it. I see it that way. Now, a person who thinks differently, who thinks something totally or sees something different may not see it the way I'm seeing it. And I get that. I'm not disputing nobody that. I'm saying from my point of view, in my opinion, the way that I see it. That's why the show is called My Take. Just like I like to hear from your take when I say to you to comment in the section. I want to hear what you have to say. And I just feel like we need to either, my question to y'all now is this. Do you think we need to get rid of the Rooney Rule? Or do you think we need to implement or add more to it to make owners or GMs covenant more black coaches, more minority coaches, period? Because you and I both know there are a lot of them out there. There are a lot of coaches out there, whether it be in college or whether it be in the NFL. There are a lot of minority coaches who can do some things, right now that are under the radar that we don't know because we only talk about or see what's right in front of us. And if we constantly keep just putting that same narrative of, oh, only the white guy, oh, only the white guy, oh, only the white guy, then we will never be able to really, really, truly see the potential to other people. Because we always keep thinking, oh, only the white guy. So that's my video of the day. I'll come back with you with another video where we're going to talk about the draft, where we're going to talk about that. But before we get into the draft, like I said, my next video is still going to be more about the free agency period. So as free agency gets ready to come up in March, as the playoffs go, and, we're getting close to the Super Bowl, I want to know also, y'all take, who do y'all want to see in this year's Super Bowl? You want to see Chiefs, Packers, first Super Bowl, and then 100 years later, here we have the Chiefs and Packers. Do you want to see Titans and Packers? Do you want to see Chiefs, Niners? Or do you want to see, Titans and Niners? Y'all tell me which one y'all want to see. As a Raider fan, I don't want to see no Niners and I don't want to see no Chiefs in a Super Bowl. And Raider Nation, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So this is your boy, G_Money Raiders, a.k.a. Galen, coming to you with another edition of My Take. And don't forget to like, subscribe, share my video. Don't forget to comment. You know how I do it. We can converse with one another on how the way this whole video is about. I know it's a long video. I thank you for watching the whole video of hearing my take of what I wanted to talk about, all right? So don't forget to comment, you guys. And thank you once again for always listening and watching me. Peace out.